Hello, everybody, and welcome to What's 3D Printing, your favorite 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time 3D printing, somewhat related, 2-hour show live on YouTube. I am Glenn from Fun King 3D, and with me, as always, is James from Print and Play.
Hey, everybody.
It doesn't look like there's very many people waiting. Is like today a big? I know there was a lot of football today.
Must be.
But I mean, I can run down the chat and we'll be done in a half a heartbeat. We got Freddie with us, Alan Osborne is here, Lars Hansen is here, and Clint is here. And the rest of you don't get shout outs.
It in fact only shows 5 people watching right now. And we have four thumbs up out of 5 people, though. That's
well, and I'm one of the people that are watching because I run it in the back so that I can see the rest of the stats.
I'm one of the other ones, so it's basically just us.
Nothing like having a stream and only watching ourselves or only having ourselves watching. Maybe it was because of the tweet that I made earlier about not having any energy and not being very creative today.
That's fair.
So the title of this stream was in fact the one where I forgot to name the stream, and that all came about because I forgot to name the stream. I actually created the YouTube link and stopped it on where, and then went, oh wait, I forgot to put a stream name, and I thought, perfect, that's the one I'm going with. So Uncle Ron said James isn't a bat this week. No, but he is in a cave. If you notice, it is a little dark. He failed to pay the electric bill this month and is now streaming by a flashlight.
Well, you know what they
say, candlelight, but it's not flickery enough.
Well, you know what they say, misery loves company. So, Alexa, turn off all studio lights.
Okay. And as usual, James has left me in the dark.
Here, I'll be your shining light. I don't know. I was trying to think of something creative to say. Alexa, turn on all studio lights.
Oh.
Alexa, turn on all studio lights.
Must be that Canadian accent all of a sudden.
Turn on all studio lights, eh?
Alexa, turn on all studio lights.
Okay. Oh, it's so bright. It took a second for the white balance to kick in.
Oh, and then I don't know if you guys can see the bridge between the two shelves. That wasn't like that. It was just on steady blue. But now we got some flashing going on, and it's done that on its own. So that's fun. Oh. 3D homebrew, my lights just went on. I truly wish that's the one thing about shout out to Coca-Cola today, our sponsor.
Oh, crap.
Did you forget yours?
No, I have Diet Pepsi. I couldn't find a Coke Zero. We've been tossing all of our beverages into a cooler and then leaving it on the front step to keep them cold so they don't have to stay in the fridge. And what happens is everything ends up buried. So I just reached in and took the first thing that wasn't fizzy water.
Gotcha.
So just let me see if I can find a Sharpie. I'll fix it up.
If I did that with my beverages, they would be burning hot. But what I was going to say is the one thing that really annoys me about the whole Amazon Echo, well, I mean, besides the fact that it listens to everything you say and mines all your data, is the fact that you only have a few options for what you name it. I would much rather give it a name, like Comrade Pooey Pants, and then I could call it whatever I want. So,
yep.
So Amazon needs to get on that. They say that the Echo can actually understand what you're typing. If you're typing in a room with it, by the sounds of the key clicks, it knows what you're typing.
I can't imagine that's true.
I don't know.
I wrote.
Yeah, but it's the wrong color can. You're gonna have to shade the whole can black.
No. I wrote sucks next to it, and then Coke Zero forever. Yeah, everybody remember when you say, "Hey Alexa" or "Okay Google" or whatever, that's not when your device starts listening to you. That's when it starts talking back.
Cancel. Right. No, they have to be listening all the time to wait for you to say that. Now, they're not supposed to be processing any data until you say that, but it's not really the way it works.
Probably not. Well, because it can also false positive on stuff, and then it'll be like, "Oh, this sounds like it might have just said, hey, whatever. I'm going to send it off to Google to see if that's what it actually said or whatever." Yeah, it's.
Yeah. I forget what it was that I said the other day. I was talking to Xander the other day, and my Echo thought that I was talking to her. And I can't remember what phrase that I used, but it sounded enough like it that. But 3D Homebrew said I had to put mine on mute. All right, we'll stop. We'll stop dropping the A-bomb. James will go back to dropping the F-bomb instead.
I've already done that once today. I did it before we went live to get it out of the way, get it out of my system.
So
I guess I can. Good.
Well, my intention this week was to make note of a couple things that I wanted to talk about today, and I didn't get that accomplished. But there was one thing in 3D printing news that I caught this week that I thought was pretty phenomenal. And of course, I don't have any details. But did anybody else see the article about the two guys that have developed a 5-axis 3D printer?
I did.
And what are your thoughts?
So, number one, so yes, it's a cool technology, and it's not the first time we've seen it. I saw it a couple of years ago. Somebody had built one, and basically the idea is that either the head rotates around what you're printing, or it's able to rotate your print to be able to attach wherever, which means that there's no such thing as an overhang anymore, right? You can rotate it. So I've had people message saying, "Oh, this is going to be like the silver bullet for 3D printing," and there kind of is no silver bullet for 3D printing, because yes, it gives you the ability to print off of it in any way, shape, or form. So it eliminates potentially the need for support material and stuff to some extent, because you're still gonna have spots where it's printing something where there's nothing to attach it to, probably. Like it's not gonna be able to maneuver all the way around parts that are already printed and stuff like that.
Yeah, you won't have 360-degree rotation, plus the size of your bed could get in the way.
Yep. The other snag we run into is that you can no longer, in that methodology, figure out which is going to give you the most structurally sound part, because your layer lines are always the weakest part of your print. So if you're printing something and its layer lines are up like this, you know that it's going to be easiest to break it like this and hardest to break it, like against the layer lines. But if your layer lines are now in all different directions, it means however each individual part was attached to your print, that's going to be the weakest spot, the point of contact. So maybe it'll be cool for like printing figures and statues and stuff like that and getting higher details and all that type of stuff. But if you're looking at structurally sound parts, unless we're talking about adding like carbon fiber and stuff or stronger materials,
Yeah, those are very valid points.
That's my feeling.
I think everything that I seen in the article was just, like your typical tchotchkes. I don't think they were printing anything that was practical.
Yep.
Which, honestly, probably, just, by the seat of the pants, 95% of all prints, if not more, that's exactly what it is.
It's like, it's hard to, because when you're trying to show off your printer, you don't be like, oh, just here's a cube that I printed. Look at how nice that cube is, or look at how strong that cube is, or whatever. You want to print something that's visually impressive, but it doesn't necessarily show off where the printer is going to shine from a technical perspective.
Right.
Right. That's why VOS mode exists. Oh, look at how tall my printer can print really, really quick, but only one. Like the vase is
one really thin layer.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times the vases you're printing and stuff don't even necessarily end up watertight, but it just makes the printer look like it's fast and it prints cleanly. So
yeah,
it's not true benchmarking. It's just, hey, I need this to look impressive, so I pick something that'll look impressive that I'm going to print.
But well, I mean, and I thought the concept behind it was good. Like even before I started to read into the article, my first thought was the smaller the print bed, the better off you're going to be. You know, because if you're swinging a 200 millimeter print bed, you're going to have more room to swing it.
Yeah.
As compared to swinging a 400 millimeter print bed. Plus, that's more movement in the bed. And as you and I both know, the ultimate printers, the bed doesn't move at all.
Yes. So maybe what you're going to want to be after is a setup where the print head is what moves in all directions, and you know what I mean? Like it moves its way around the print, but I don't know. There's going to be all sorts of technical challenges. It'll take time for the slicers to be able to support it, assuming it ever hits the.
Well, yeah, because the slicer itself has to be smart enough to know when to change that axis.
Yeah, so that it doesn't run into something that it's already printed, trying to print onto something else, right? Like,
right.
There's all sorts of.
It's got to do the math and say, oh, okay, well, normally I would put a support here, but by turning it like this, I don't have to now.
Yep.
And then. You know, okay, so and the benchies are terrible because it doesn't require any support. But you know, okay, so I'm going to print this piece, but let's go to larger. You know, do I cut it here or do I cut it up here? You know, so it's going to have to know at what point that it has to start changing.
I almost wonder if the initial slicers are going to work more like multicolor, where it splits up a model into multiple models essentially, and says, "I'm going to print this model, then I'm going to print this model, then." You know what I mean? Like it's splitting up into separate pieces of work.
Like print this model, but make this a bed and make this a bed.
Yeah.
Like make this 0Z, make this 0Z.
That could
be.
It also won't surprise me if the initial slicers are all cloud-based to leverage the processing power that can be available in the cloud versus trying to make something that'll run on a home computer of, you know, questionable speed or whatever. So we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, and I say this, I mean, I've always been very blessed to have computers that are not slouches.
Yep.
Do the slicers take a lot of processing power?
I mean, I've definitely, when I upgraded from like my 8-year-old machine to my current machine, I definitely saw a huge increase in the amount of time it takes to slice something. But I don't know. I've never done a thorough examination to see how much memory and stuff the slicers have been using in the background. I've certainly seen Prusa slicer hit I think, well, let me take a look at where it's at right now. Let me see.
Matt, how I doing? Matt is asking if I've talked with Happy Extruder Ron in a while. I messaged back and forth with Happy Ron. I think it was Christmas Day or the day after was the last I heard from him. Is he MIA? Is he okay? Is there something we need to know about?
Yeah, anytime anybody asks about somebody in the community, I assume that somebody's concerned that something's wrong.
Yeah, it's always scary. In fact, he had said something recently about getting together with Shane. He just posted to Twitter. I have been kind of staying off of Twitter because I'm angry at the world right now because the world is full of very selfish, mean, hateful people.
Yep.
Oh no, he's hanging in there. As of Christmas, he was doing fine. So
I'm trying to take support materials off of a megabyte.
Does Glenn want a Lulzbot ever? Oh, I would gladly take a Lulzbot. What I don't want is a Lulzbot price tag. Lulzbots are entirely too rich for my blood, but I've had the opportunity to work with a couple of them, and they seem very well built. So,
just not what I want to spend on a printer.
No, I would buy two cheapies first.
I have a friend that bought a printer. I won't name the printer. And I'm sure he's going to be very happy with it. I'm sure you get a lot of usability out of the price for it. But when I looked at the price, I quickly did the math in my head and realized that he could get 4 Ender 3s with the same build volume for the same price as what he paid for his one.
Wow.
It does have features that the Ender 3 doesn't have, but as a like first printer, you know.
Well, and it's hard because there's so many out there.
There really is.
And then when you do the research, like if you were to randomly pick one that you didn't know anything about, and like go to research it, chances are the first place you're going to end up in is a fan page, either on Facebook or Reddit or somewhere. You're going to end up in a group that are fans, where 90% of the people are saying good things.
Yep.
And 10% are really letting you know what's going on, or 90% are having good luck and 10% are whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you only get sucked into that chunk of, you're going to be like, yeah, great, everything's good, I'm going to buy one of these. And you may at that point stop your research. Now, I'm a crazy research hound.
Yep.
I generally buy almost nothing without doing sufficient research, and
without overthinking it.
Amazon reviews don't count anymore.
Yeah, they're useless.
No, there's so much.
Do you know what Amazon reviews do count? The 1-star ones. I don't bother with the 5-star.
Even 1 or 2, you know, like,
yeah,
you get the people that are throwing a 2-star down. But yeah, definitely not 4s and 5s.
I saw one the other day where somebody gave something a 2-star, and they said if I could give it the other day. I saw one the other day where somebody said if I could give this 0 stars, I would, but they'd given it 2 stars. They didn't even give it 1 star, and I was like, I think my favorite was we were looking at glucosamine supplements for the cats. And there was a liquid one that's bacon flavored, and a guy had popped on to give it a 1-star review, and I guess he didn't realize it was an animal supplement, and he thought that his wife had ordered the stuff as a bacon replacement for some of their meals and stuff. So he'd been adding it to like his eggs and like dipping, like put it on some jalapeno poppers and stuff like that. And was just talking about how disgusting it was, But the thing is, so I don't know if it was meant to be funny tongue in cheek, because he ended up and basically said, so far it seems like it's only been fit for my dog. He seems to like the taste. I guess he'll get the rest of it. But I was like, that seems like it could be a tongue in cheek joke, but also there are idiots out there. So,
well, there's a reason that, you know, like it's written on your coffee cup, hot, don't pour and lap.
Yeah.
Who posted that on Twitter the other day? It was it said the other day, it said something about, you know, like, do not pour hot beverage in crotch. And then they had a French and a German translation, but they were just BS translations. And it was like, you know, don't pour the hot coffee on your ooh-ha-ha. But no, so I could understand that, you know, maybe this person went out and did the research on that particular printer, seen enough nice stuff about it, and just went for it.
Absolutely.
Did this person come to you first?
He tried to. He messaged my wife, and she didn't get the message until after he had ordered a printer. I think there was like a time constraint on how long he had access to like some funds or something like that. Like it had to be in for fiscal or by the end of the year or whatever, that type of thing. So not that he ordered a bad printer at all. It's
just not necessarily the right price point.
Yeah, but like also if it was like company money or whatever, and it's like that, you know, user to lose it by the end of the year, then maybe he did himself a favor.
No, that could be too. Sure.
It did have some like, so it was an IDEX, independent dual extruder setup. So in case like, well, you know, what's that use? So I'm like, well, if he's planning to go into the market for printing stuff that he's going to sell, then it can print 2 copies of the same thing at the same time for the same speed.
Right.
So, you know, like maybe there is a business need for him to have that particular setup. I don't know. But
Brian Mulberry said the Ender 3 V2 is really, really good. I might have to break down and get myself one of those. I mean, not that I need one, but everybody talks about it, and it would look good sitting behind me. Which, by the way, I am printing today. I am printing.
I'm not, but I will be by the end of the stream.
I'm finally printing the parts for my rep box. Figured I better put that thing together. And I have my little buddy with me. She's over here sleeping. I don't know if you can see her. She's over here sleeping in the chair. So she might pop up later. I only allow the one cat up here now because the other two are terrors and knock all the stuff off my shelves. So
I mean, you deserve it. So for
hang on, Sean Gold says the Lulzbot is too expensive, says the guy who's still working on the FK1. How much has gone into that project so far? Well, Sean, I've never totaled it up because I don't want to know. I don't really have anything else that I have to purchase for that thing. Well, I do have to buy another battery backup for it, but that's a story that I'll tell later. Yeah, and then keep in mind that the cost for me was not terrible because I had a lot of really wonderful sponsors.
So I was saying I'm cleaning I'm actually going to try and reconnect my overhead camera so I can show some stuff while we're doing this. I wanted to record some printing action, so I disconnected the overhead camera and connected another camera above my printer. Trying to get fancier with a time-lapse thing that I'm going to do.
Brian Mulberry said, have you guys noticed that half the time the reviews aren't even of the product you're looking at or the author had a derp? They figured out a way to manipulate, like they'll release a product that gets a bunch of good reviews and then somehow they switch the product out.
I don't think it's actually that hard. I think they can basically like add variations to a product type.
And then drop the first variation.
I think that's how it works. Or they just mark the other one as unavailable. So like in the system, they can still be put back into place, but it stops listing it. So
because it'll be like reviews for bed sheets, and they'll be selling you a USB mouse.
Yep. Let's see.
Uncle Ron said that he can tell you that nacho dog biscuits do not taste cheesy at all.
It's not easy being cheesy.
And Lars has asked about Xander's computer. I guess we'll go ahead and get that story out of the way. It did arrive. It arrived on the Tuesday that FedEx originally said it was gonna. It got here that particular day. It came extremely well boxed.
Not sarcastic?
No. We filmed it. Like I said to Xander, I said, I know you're going to be excited, but nothing happens until I look at that box. We're not signing for it. We're not nothing, which FedEx didn't make us sign for it. She said because of COVID, as long as she handed it to a person, then she doesn't actually have to get a signature, which I thought was pretty odd.
That's the way it's been here too.
But the box had like 2 little dings in it, which kind of concerned me, but they didn't tear all the way through. So I thought, okay, that's fine. Huge box. Huge. Yeah. And I just put it away, or I would show you guys how big that box was. But inside, like we cut that box open and opened it up, and inside that box at one end was the keyboard and mouse and stuff that I had ordered to go with it. And then the computer was in another box with the regular styrofoam. And then it used, it was either 1/2 inch or 3/4 like dense foam. Really nice. It'll be great for other projects. So like the accessories were wrapped in that. And then there was a couple pieces under the computer box and a couple pieces over the computer box. So double boxed, nice heavy duty boxes, both of them. So fantastic job boxing it up. Cut the computer box open, took it out. They put one of those, and I know you guys have seen them. It comes in a like sealed in a bag, and you cut it open and you put it where you want it to be, and it expands.
Yeah.
Like it's got foam inside and it expands inside of a plastic bag. So they actually put one of those in between the GPU and the bottom of the case and wrapped it around so that the graphics card didn't shake.
Yes, I was watching a video where they basically talking about like 20 to 30% of the issues with high-end computers where they've got a GPU is that the GPU would work its way partially out of the slot before it was hooked up, and then they'd have to deal with a tech call. So
yeah, well, and the company actually was charging, I want to say it was $20, but that might not be right. They were charging extra for the extra foam inside, and they were getting so many RMAs that they started to just do it on all of them.
Yep.
So that was good. That had a good level of protection. The machine was put together very well. There was no missing screws. There was no stripped screws. Cable management was done well. At least it was done well in the part where you can see it's got the shroud over on the lower portion of it that covers the power supply and hard drives and stuff. So I don't know if it looks like a rat's nest down in there or not, but otherwise I was pleased with the build quality on the machine.
It's good enough that this company would be getting a recommendation if everything else hadn't gone to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, it comes down to the management is the only reason that I would tell people to not buy stuff from there. Their customer service, like the employees that I dealt with were fine, except for the one employee that I had in the chat who was like super short with me, and that could have just been a bad day, super busy, whatever. But the machine itself is doing very well. Now I ordered it without Windows because I can get Windows 10. I can buy Windows 10 licenses cheaper than what they wanted to sell me one for. So we did our own installation. I was blown away with how fast it installed Windows. Like when you get to that part where it's like copying files. I said to Xander, I said, well, this part will take a little bit. Let me know when it's done. And I made it like halfway across the room and it was done.
Yep.
So I mean, it's super, super impressively fast.
What's been making? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What's been making me laugh about Windows licenses is that, and it's not a scam per se. It's kind of scammy. There have been people that have been, or companies that have been paying for volume licensing, right? So they have however many keys that are attributed to their volume license.
Right.
So they register with Microsoft, and then they sell the keys on eBay until they get shut down. So you can go on eBay sometimes, and there'll be somebody selling all their volume license CDs or keys, and it's like $5 or $6 US.
Wow.
Yeah, and then so what happens is they you put in the key or whatever. Within 5 minutes, you get an email. Here's the key. And the other one they've been doing is companies that are getting computers back for recycling. You know how depending on which company you buy a computer from, it will have a Windows license on the side of it.
Right.
The license on them is usually not actually used to activate the computer. They've usually just been activated under their volume license, and then the license is applied on the side so that it's a legitimate copy of Windows. So if you have to reinstall Windows and you're doing it just from the USB, like the Windows USB 10 media, that key will activate once without an issue because that key's never actually been activated.
Wow.
So I saw one company that was basically, they had like 1,000 computers that had come back for recycling or whatever, and they were just selling the licenses off the sides of them.
And
so,
that key never dies?
Well, so the key's never been activated. So the computer doesn't even know that was its key. So they sell it once, you activate it once, and then it's linked to whatever hardware it was activated on. And
Gotcha.
It's not even, I won't even say legally dubious, because I don't think you're like the way volume licensing for OEMs is supposed to work is that the license belongs to that computer specifically. So even though that sticker, the key on that sticker has maybe never been used, it's supposed to die with the computer.
Correct.
You can't build a new computer out of it. When it was Windows XP and Windows 7 or Vista, they used to basically say, I think it was, you can replace everything but the motherboard and the hard drive. So if you're reactivating, they'd be like, how many times has this computer's been activated or whatever? And a lot of the times, if it had been activated more than once, you'd have to like get on the phone with them and actually talk to somebody, and they would have to let it go on a case-by-case basis. So,
well, let me tell you a little bit about that story, because not long ago I bought Xander a license for Office 2019, and when we just set up the new computer, it told me that that license key was no longer valid, and it asked me if I wanted to call in.
right.
So when you call in, they give you this number that's like
It's 8 segments of 6 digits. I think it's 48 letters.
mine was eight of 7. Yeah, because
Okay.
it'll either come up as 6 or 7. So, and then you have to speak it to the phone, and then the phone speaks you back a number.
Yeah.
But what it did was I gave it the number, and it says this license has already been activated on a PC, or our records indicate that this has been activated on a PC. How many times has this been used? And I said 0, and it said
Verified.
Okay, here's your number, and then poof, it was done. So.
Hack Monkey says that. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we were both reading the same thing.
Yeah.
That Windows 10 Pro retail, not OEM keys, can be moved to new machines.
Right, because retail is licensed to the purchaser, not the device. It just can't be on more than one computer at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Sean Gould said, I've also heard that Windows 7 keys will also activate Windows 10. I have also heard that. I have heard that Windows 7 will still upgrade to Windows 10 for free,
even though they said it was a limited time thing.
Right. Even now, I've heard that still works. Unfortunately, I didn't have a Windows 7 key, so I had to buy a 10. But it was fine. So Xander is quite thrilled with the machine. He keeps saying things to me like, "Oh my gosh, I can get into the game so much faster now because my VR headset's not crashing constantly."
But he keeps getting pwned by people because it's not the machine, it's the player.
Right.
Did you just tell me to shut up?
He did.
Did he get his mouth washed out last week?
We had a good talk after that episode.
You went, son, that was really funny, but you can't say that while I'm streaming.
Really, that's kind of what it came down to. Is, I said, you're 14 years old. I know that you're getting into that point where you're going to try things and try to get away with things, and it's fine. Just don't do it when I'm broadcasting to the whole entire world.
You only need one James stirring things up.
God, yeah. I mean, everything was fine for like coming up on 4 years, and then you two nutheads. So hey, there's Happy Ron now. Somebody must have shook his box and told him to come on out and play.
They said you were dead.
They said you were missing in action. Brian Mulberry, it is an Intel. It is a i7 10. I can't remember. It's the 10,000 series i7. It is running 32 gigs of RAM with a 1 terabyte Western Digital Black SSD with a Asus TUF GeForce 3070. Yeah. So it's a nice machine. So let's have a new segment called "What Did I Learn This Week?" Well, what I learned was Xander's 650 VA battery backup won't handle that computer. And I don't even mean when a power goes out. I mean just using it. So he's on his VR headset and he's doing something, and he gets into a point where the game is like really doing stuff, and all of a sudden the battery backup starts to beep.
Like, beep.
And I'm like, what is that beeping? And he's like, I don't know. It sounds like it's coming from over here. But it was just brief, and then it was gone. And so then we caught it. We caught it with the light flashing and stuff. So I don't know why I didn't think, but a 650 VA battery backup is only like 330 watts. So I said, well, now you're going to have to save your money and buy yourself a new battery backup. So what happens? The one comes off the FK1, which is a 1500 VA or 850 watts, and down onto his machine it goes. So, I mean, we tried taking the monitors off of it first. The only 3 things it was running was the 2 monitors in the computer.
Oh, you thought, maybe we can get away with not having the monitors connected, but no. Too
Well,
little,
at
too
least
late.
until we get a new one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I said, well, I guess you get the one off of the FK one for now. So APC should be a sponsor because I own, well, currently 3 of those 1500 VAs, and I got another one, that'll be on the way shortly. And then I've got 550s and 650s all through the house on just about everything I own.
So there is a girl on Reddit that's been doing. So for people that know,
one?
just
Man,
one.
I bet she gets a lot of attention.
She does, absolutely. So she's a Reboot fan, the Canadian CGI TV show from the 90s called Reboot. And the main villain in that show is called Megabyte, which this here is Megabyte. I'm not know if it's gonna. It looks okay. So she started a project called the Gigabyte Project, where she is trying to collect a gigabyte versus gigabytes worth of megabytes. So she's going 1,000. I think it should be 1,024, but that's just me being a purist nerd. So she posted she's got up to like 30 or 40 of them. She's been working on it for a few months. And I said, do 3D printed ones count? And she goes, if they're megabyte, they do. And I said, so I could 3D print you 1,000 of these and then your quest would be over? And she's like, well, yes. So I basically messaged her prior. I'm like, I'm not going to print you 1,000 because like, I don't want to end your project like that, right? Like I don't want your project to just be over with because I was able to do it. But if you want, I'll 3D print you some megabytes and I'll ship them to you. And she's in Canada, so that works out fine. So I'm actually going to take this model and I'm going to chop off the head, hollow it out and print it the size of like a cookie jar. And then fill it with a bunch of tiny ones and mail it to her.
Nice.
She's like, I'll pay you whatever. And I'm like, I'm just going to.
The only girl on all of Reddit, and she's in Canada.
Yep. It's because she was too polite to leave with the rest of them.
Brian Mulliver said, why not a Generac? Better backup for the whole house. Okay, so you're right. And my house, when I built it, I actually made provisions for a whole house generator. I have the space to put it. I know where the propane tank would go. I have the space on the wall for the transfer switch. The problem is the time between when the power goes out and the generator coming back on. Plus, if you're running a generator on the house, you still want battery backups to protect from brownouts and from surges.
Yeah, because cleaner power.
Right. That's how when I think it was Hurricane Gene went through a couple years ago. We had friends staying here because they had no power. I mean, we didn't have power either, but we had the generator to run the refrigerator at least. And then I would also run a cord to the Xbox and a TV, which I ran through a battery backup to clean it so the kids could play video games.
Oh, just so you don't have to deal with their nonsense.
Right. Well, they had nothing else to do. So
yeah, you don't want them bugging you.
Kit says he likes my new stream partner. Yes, that's my buddy. That's one of 3, but she's my I won't say she's my favorite, but
she's your favorite.
Yeah.
She's not my favorite.
She's the one that plays fetch with me every night. So
I want to see I'm just playing with things right now. So I've got the Ultra Mini NES thing that I've been working on, and I've got a dollar store battery bank that I picked up. I don't know when. And I'm just curious if it's actually putting out enough power that it could run this board, because this board isn't particularly power hungry.
Carl said, have to go into the private area Reddit to find the girls.
He's been banned. So let's see.
Uncle Ron says my favorite son is whichever one isn't annoying at the moment.
Sometimes it's none.
They always try that. Who's your favorite? And I always say the cat. Yeah, she's a good baby. But yeah, the other two are biological sisters, and they get up here and they chase each other around the stairs because it's open on both ends. You can go all the way around, and they come barreling around, knocking stuff over. And then the physically larger of the two likes to get up on the shelves and knock everything off. So my wife is a Harry Potter fan, and so the last 2 years at Christmas time, I've got her the Lego Harry Potter advent calendars, and so she had everything set up on plates, all like neatly organized, and came up one morning and they were both on the floor and everywhere, and so she was mad, and I said, all right, well, that's it. Cats don't come upstairs anymore.
I disappeared.
You went dark.
I'm just trying to see if I can get this thing to boot. And sometimes I have issues with multiple cameras and stuff running together, so I just want to see if this is even doing anything. I don't think it's putting out enough power.
Definitely not if your cameras are dark. Hey, Rover.
Let's see. Let's do it.
But yeah, overall, Xander is very, very pleased with his new setup. It seems to run everything fine, and we've been slowly getting everything back reinstalled and getting his documents and stuff back where they should be. I still want to put a secondary hard drive in there, one so he has a scratch disk for things like Photoshop, but also so that he can store his junk on a different drive and keep the SSD for all the good stuffs. Happy Ron says, stop by to say hi. Take care, Glenn, James, and chat room. Stay safe. Well, thank you for being here, Ron.
We appreciate you, buddy.
One of these days, this virus is going to go away, and then we'll get together for that lunch that we've been talking about for 4 years now.
We'll have a good time then.
Ron does not live very far from me, like 35, 40 minutes, and then we just never get together. So, Rover Xander doesn't 3D print anything anymore. He just, he is, as much as I tried to beat the maker into him, he's just not a maker. He has recently started writing code, though, which pleases me. At least he's doing something creative with his brain. So, awesome. It's a bunch of meals adding up. We have to order it all at once. Yes, food for everyone. Maybe I should just I'll just like full screen myself and get rid of you.
That's fair. I can't get any video out of anything now.
I'll be like, that's the cat talking. It's me and the cat. You can see her lips moving.
Yeah, I can't get video out of anything now.
Well, that's not good.
I'm going to close OBS, which I don't know what it's going to do to StreamYards.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you have to drop completely out and come back in, it doesn't matter. I'll still be here. So,
because it's like I'm fighting with this to see if I can get video out of it using the battery. Then I went back to a regular adapter. I'm like, I'm still not getting any video. And I'm like, oh, maybe the problem is that the capture card isn't working versus me fighting with everything else. So I plug something in that I know works, which is the actual NES Classic, which you guys can't see. I held it up to the camera and I was like, oh, wait. But it still isn't putting anything on the screen. So, and OBS froze when I tried to close it. So, Kay and I are just about done watching Shameless, which is, I think, 11 seasons long now.
Yeah, my mom was into watching that for a while, but
it's very inappropriate. But every episode starts off with its own gag. So every episode they start off with a different character on the screen, and they like turn to the person and go, "What? No, I'm not telling you what happened last week on Shameless. You can be here and watch." But it's always like a different skit.
okay.
So like the guy's like, "Are you serious again?" And he starts like running towards you. Like he's like, "Everybody else can make time to be here and watch it, and you can't. I'm not giving you the recap." And then they do a recap of, the story so far type thing. But it's kind of like The Simpsons, where it has the different opening stuff every time.
Uncle Ron said today's stream is shameless.
No, it's actually Jamesless.
Well, it's shameless because I can't stand that guy, and I finally got him to quit showing up around here.
Ouch.
So annoying. So Xander and I have
The other day.
Kit said, "Oh, I thought you said shameless." Xander and I have still been kicking around ideas for doing this marathon gaming stream.
Because you got to find something that he can actually play that long, and since he's terrible at games, it's not much.
Well, I said to him, I said, "Listen, I said it's got to be a game that I can play, not something I've never played that you've played a bazillion times, so you can just go in there and like wipe the floor with me all the time." I truly want to do it as one of the Lego games because I think that would just be hysterical and you know, like we could push each other off the roof of the building. But I don't know. We had talked about we were talking about different games, and I said, well, if we're going to do it on two separate machines, then we're going to have to get a different, you know, like an additional HDMI to USB capture. And then we can pump it all into the studio machine. And then, because I sit like 12, 15 feet over that way at my desk. So I said I could have my laptop set up, remoted into the studio machine, which is right here on the floor. And then like I could control the cameras and stuff while we're playing. But whew, I don't know. Uncle Ron said, wait until I move down there, Glenn, and Shane and I take turns showing up. Oh, well, Jim, by the time you show up, hopefully Corona would be gone, and then you guys don't have to take turns. Oh, I love the Lego games, Mitch. I'm currently playing Lego City Undercover with Zach, and I say with Zach because sometimes I get stood up when he goes out and plays with his friends, and then I have to play by myself. I mean, I could just not play, but
I honestly don't know.
Mitch said HDMI has a cable length issue. I did 25 feet and my capture card was skipping frames. Well, my computer itself, my actual computer is in the rack right here. So it would probably be about a 12-foot cable to get it to the HDMI capture.
So I killed OBS and
RetroPie Orange.
Yeah, now I have video. So
you just made the OBS gods mad.
I guess.
Greg 3D Maker says Lego Star Wars. I don't know if you said that honestly or because you heard, I think it was last week I had said that Xander and I played the Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, but we had gotten, I don't know how far into it were we? I don't know, but we were like quarter of the way, halfway, and the game had crashed and we lost our save data and had to start all over again. And oh my God, it was so miserable. And then it took forever to get to 100% on that game. So.
Okay, well, I guess we can probably say that this thing will not work off of my dollar store USB battery bank.
I do like Wolfenstein.
Glorious 3 dimensions.
Was one of the first games that I had on my original 486 DX33 PC. Oh, I'm gonna have a coughing fit. I gotta mute.
And he's gone forever. Come on.
All right, hopefully that was the only one I'm gonna have.
There we go. We're back to that screen that I was showing before.
20 people hit the thumbs up button, please. At least 20 people.
Things are a bit of a mess here. I didn't get as organized before the stream as I was planning because we had a friend stop by for a social distance visit that we haven't seen in it feels like a year, to be honest. And she dropped me off a company around here manufactured a Reboot logger. I don't think licensed. So she dropped me off some. She was thinking of me. So I had my first beer, and I drank half a beer, and I started feeling a little loopy because I haven't had alcohol in like I don't know how long at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
Like forever.
At least 48 years.
Oh, there's the. Wonder if I can't even share the screen to put like me and this video on the screen at this point now. Oh well. What can you do?
Yeah, I haven't played any of the newer Wolfenstein. Is it Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein? Like, is it Frankenstein or Frankenstein? Frankenstein.
No one knows for sure, but you should probably find out.
Rover's telling you to reboot. I don't know if he's telling you to reboot the computer or just yourself.
I should probably reboot myself. I heard there's no respawn in RL though.
Are either of you still working? Define working.
I am
employed.
I'm still working.
Yeah, I work from home, so my job actually didn't stop. I was never not employed. I was never not working. I was never furlonged. Any of that. We as a company pushed through, and for a while there, everybody was working from home, which like doubled my workload because I'm an estimator and the IT manager. So like I had to kind of balance both sides of that. But we ended up having a really terrible year. I mean, like everybody had a terrible year, but we had probably one of the lowest grossing years since the company started. But in that mess, we also secured a massive number of jobs that are starting. Like some of them have already started, but first quarter of 2021, which will generate probably one of the best years we ever had. So there's only two of us in the estimating department, myself and Grant, and both of us just, I mean, it feels like we get hammered every day. Our job never lets up. There's no break. There's no time to breathe. It's quite stressful. Makes me want to jump off a bridge once in a while, but it worked out. It worked out well. So company should experience some growth. Construction does not seem to be letting off, which is really weird. One, for being an election year, and two, being that we went through COVID. So
I'm going to close and reopen my browser because it keeps coming up saying your browser's lost connection to your cameras. And so we'll see what happens. 2 seconds.
Well, I'll be here. Hello, Paul Cumber. And then I go quiet. Sorry, I was reading the chat. I usually have James back there filling in for me. So, but while he's gone, we can talk about him. I mean, he's completely gone out of the green room and everything. So, no, nothing really new, Paul. I am printing back on the. I always swing the wrong way. I got the Prusa printing some Fun King 3D yellow PETG. I'm printing the parts for my. For my rep box to finally assemble the rep box. We're still looking at the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. So it works for a bit, and then all of a sudden it pops up and says your browser's lost connection to your camera. I'm just trying to see if I've got anything else that would be using my camera running, but I don't think so.
Rover said last week on the Edge of Tech, you won a resin printer. That's pretty cool. I have a resin printer. Sits over there on the floor where it's been since I brought it home. It's on my list of things to do, but it's got to get out of here before it prints. It's going to go out to the garage. Paul, I did not get a chance to print that. I'm sorry, buddy. It was the week from Christmas to New Year's I was off, and then this week I was back into work, and I was supposed to only do IT stuff all week. First of the year, there's a lot to do, and then I ended up doing estimating stuff all week. So.
Look at all the games. And disconnected again.
And disconnect. Well, at least your microphone's not disconnecting.
That's true.
Nobody really wanted to look at you anyway.
I don't want to look at myself. I don't blame you. I don't know. Qu'est-ce qui se passe là? And all I have to do is click start camera and it comes back.
That's weird, though. So let's talk about Streamyard for a minute. Streamyard sold out.
Did they?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the company that they sold to. Don't know if it was a direct sellout or if it was more of a merger. But Streamyard is up to, they were up to about 12 employees, and they're now part of a larger company, which I guess they've been in communication through the last few years. They both experienced tremendous growth because of the whole COVID 2020 issue. But they're now part of a company that is 300 employees strong. So they promised that it's staying as its own entity, which everybody always says that. It always scares me. But that they'll have more resources now and more team to work on making StreamYard better.
Do you know that playing like this adds a level of difficulty I couldn't even expect, because it's adding like probably almost a full second of delay because I'm playing it in StreamYard.
You're not watching it live. You're watching the StreamYard?
Yeah, I'm watching whatever StreamYard is displaying for you and I. So I think invincibility is probably a good thing, but
Roller says it's hopping. That's the company that has acquired them. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you.
Being this terrible at video games must be how Xander feels all the time.
What's that?
Being this terrible at video games must be how Xander feels all the time.
Oh, I should have said something while Happy Run was still here. So some time ago, Happy Run gave Xander a green screen, and it's I don't know, it's like a 4x8 or 5x9, or it's an oval. Well, I guess it's a rounded square, but it's like one of those. You get them for to block the sun on your dashboard, and you just grab them and you twist them like this, and then they like roll smaller.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Except for this one requires witchcraft to be able to roll it up. So the other night when Xander did his big face reveal video, and thank you for the 3 people that tuned in for that.
I already seen his face. I don't want to see it again.
But when he got done, I'm like, all right, we'll fold that up now. And I stood there and watched him for like 5 minutes trying to roll that thing up.
Oh, there it goes again.
And it's gone.
I can't wait to see how it ended up for me. Oh, am I still live? This is how the real pros play Mario blindfolded. Do you know that speedrunning Mario blindfolded is actually a category?
Is it really?
Yeah. And there's actually been recently a guy that speedran Mike Tyson's Punch-Out blindfolded, I think, all the way through.
Wow.
Makes me realize how much I've wasted my life.
When you speedrun Mario the other day.
I don't know. I'm trying to do this trick when I've got so much delay, but we're gonna do the clip through the block thing. Wait for it. Oh, it's so bad. There's a break in the collision detection, so if you hit this just right, it'll actually lock you into the wall and push you all the way through. Oh, didn't want to do that, but it doesn't hurt anything. I also hit the start key on my computer, so the Windows start menu is covering up part of the screen right now. So like, the situation just keeps getting worse. Come on. Oh. And it disconnected again.
Well, of course it did. Why would we have non-riveting live streams? So I do have to tell everybody that that I sent James a message this morning and said to him that I was having mixed feelings about streaming today, and that on one hand, I know that we always have a good time when I do it, but the other side of me, I said I just didn't know if I could people today, and that's just because there's so many hateful people in the world right now, and it makes me sad. But
there we go.
Then I realized that I realized when I come here and it's all of you people, then it's fun.
So with Mario 1, the way the exiting the levels work is basically there's points you have to cross and then exits become activated. So right now this pipe is registered something you can go down, but there's no pointer to tell it which level to bring you to. So if you go down it, instead of going to 4-1, you end up in -1.
-1 world.
Yeah. And it's an endless level. So if I make it to the end of this level and go through the pipe that usually brings you to the flagpole, it just restarts you again in the middle of the level over and over again until you lose all your lives.
So because this level isn't an actual level in the game?
This level configuration does exist but it's not, obviously it's not negative world 1. So it's actually, I think, like you're actually in world 36-1 based on the way it does its like level calculation, but there's no sprite to attribute for 36, so it doesn't have anything to display in that left column. And so it's the way it figures out levels. I like the full technical stuff. I don't know, but this is a level that exists in the game, but it doesn't have any of its proper endpoints and stuff activated. So I just need to get this guy over here, and then I can just. So this would usually bring you to the flagpole, and instead, right back to the middle of the level.
So you're stuck there. You can never get out of that.
Yeah, it's well, I won't say it's an endless loop. It's a loop that only ends when you die repeatedly.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, so Xanders started writing
some code the other day.
Well, he started writing a game in Roblox. And he said, he goes, I don't really have a grasp on the 3-dimensional, so I locked it into 2-dimensional. And I'm like, that's okay. I mean, there's so many great games that were written that way. So. Brian said, and I avoid the news like the plague. I have been lately as well. I mean, you have to avoid the news. I'm sorry, it's one-sided and it's lies. They're not giving you the full story. You have to do your own research to find both sides of the story, and then use your brain and come up with a common ground. So
it sounds like you're getting dangerously close to talking political stuff.
No, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh,
why you got to bring up politics?
Why you got to be so rude?
Clint said, sorry, got to go. First work day in about 6.5 hours. Need to get some sleep. Well, thank you for being here, Clint. Enjoy your first work day. I always hated the first work day. Just, being introverted, it's hard to go in. Oh my gosh, we can see James. It's always hard to go in and be around new people. And then, I always want to go in and take over, but you never want to do that on the first day.
Yep.
Yes, it's commentary. That's what it is, commentary. So I did start taking down Christmas lights yesterday. makes me really sad. We decided this year, because there was a thing going on by Health One that, they said leave your Christmas lights on for the month of January as a salute to the heroes, the healthcare workers and stuff. And what we decided to do, because usually at midnight on January 31st, on New Year's there, it plays Auld Lang Syne a handful of times and then goes dark, and that's it for the year. So what I did was I just made the lights come on static, and before anybody asks, no, I didn't get a chance to edit the video, so there's no video yet, but it's coming. But now the lights, no show. They just burn statically. And so we're just going to start taking them down as time allows. So
I can
do that on day 2.
I can
Sometimes
show
I do it. Sometimes I wait till after lunch on the first day before I start taking over.
So I can show off the almost finished Ultra Mini NES. So this is the actual Nintendo Classic, right? And then there's the one that I've been building next to it for scale. So super tiny, but functional power button, reset button, USB in the front, and I added the black detailing and stuff around the ports and stuff. So isn't that tiny?
That is tiny.
And mine does something that theirs doesn't. And that's print in place.
Yeah.
So, I think I just lost the power button. Nothing's glued into place yet for like final fit. So
it's funny you should say that, Uncle Ron. He says Glenn's electric meter has to spin like the one in Christmas Vacation. December's electric bill was $60 lower than November's.
That's weird.
We're not running any air conditioning.
Well, that's true.
So the lights take less power to run than the air conditioner does. And you also have to think all my Christmas lights are LED. When I say all, I'd say 98% of them are LED. And they're also not on the whole time. They blink and flash for 20 minutes out of every half hour.
That's true.
So it's really like only running a third of them. So.
Now, Glenn, I have a serious question for you.
Sure.
Every week we talk about getting sponsorship by Coke Zero, right?
By Coca-Cola, yeah.
Yeah. Would you switch to Diet Pepsi if Pepsi came out and offered us a sponsorship?
I would drink that filth for the right amount of money.
Okay, you might have just blown it for us, but
all right. Here's to be fair.
Oh wow.
I prefer Diet Pepsi over Diet Coke. I don't like Diet Coke. I like Diet Pepsi better than Diet Coke, but I like Coke Zero over Diet Pepsi. So
I need to show off this color filament before I load it up. So getting back to the gigabyte of megabyte projects, I found I
thought you were going to get back to how Diet Pepsi was going to sponsor us.
Oh, I just wanted to know before I start sending out emails.
Oh.
I ordered matte navy blue filament because it's the closest blue I could find that was like a match to Megabyte's actual color in the show. And I don't know if that shows off in there because it's kind of coming out a little gray, but
it looks gray.
The texture on this is very interesting. But yes, it totally looks just straight up gray. Like 50 shades of gray.
Yeah, at least 50.
So, well, that's unfortunate.
Brian Mulberry asked thoughts on matter control. And to be honest with you, I touched matter control very, very briefly. We're talking about Matter Hacker Slicer, right? I touched it very, very briefly back when I originally got my Robo R1 and didn't really like it. Like it felt clumsy to me. And so I just wrote all my own profiles in Cura at the time because that's what I was using and never looked back.
But it's also been a while since you tried it.
Very true.
It's been a while.
To be fair.
To be fair.
So Xander has started using that phrase for some reason. He'll be over there playing video games, and he'll yell at his friend, "Well, to be fair," and I always go, "To be fair," and he doesn't even get it because I don't let him watch Letterkenny.
Well, it's a perfectly acceptable show for kids.
Mark said if I put up solar panels, then I could cut the bill even more. It is something that I have started to look into. Unfortunately, Florida as a whole is full of scammer companies. So like it's not really easy to do research on that. The power company will come out and take a look, but they have all kinds of weird regulations and stuff. Oh, and then Brian said disregard my last post. David Renoff says, okay, I'm back from White Castle. What did I miss? What you missed was bringing me some darn White Castles.
And to be fair to Brian Vines, I disregard most of what he says. So
no, Brian Mulberry, not Brian Vines.
Oh, okay, never mind. He's fine.
Different Brian. This is Brian with an I.
Oh, he doesn't have a Y in it, like some sort of serial killer.
Uncle Ron said, "Slick 3R."
So my proofs are just so every once in a while I'll change colors on a filament. I probably told the story already. And so you take the old one out, you put the new one in. After it primes, it goes, is the filament coming out the right color?
Right.
And you say yes or no. And I usually say no twice just to make sure, because there have been times where I'm like, oh yeah, it's the right color. And then when it actually prints it, you can see like the outline is a slightly different color than the rest.
Okay.
So I'll say no. I'll say no twice, and then the third one I'll keep it. But every once in a while I do that, and after I say yes on the third go round, it just starts extruding, and it extrudes like a ridiculous amount of material over the course of 30 seconds and then stops.
Huh.
So, and
I have not had that issue.
It's not repeatable enough, but like there's the extra material it just spit out.
Yeah, because what I'll do is I will say I'll tell it no a couple of times, until I can look at the film, because obviously it depends. If I'm going from black to yellow, then it's more predominant than when I'm going yellow to black, because those are the only two colors I use. All right, that's not true. Sometimes I print white, but so what I'll do is I'll say no, it's not clear a couple of times until I look at it and it looks clear. And then I'll go, yep, it's clear. And then I'll go in and I'll tell it to do it again, because the first few seconds it runs it really fast.
Yeah. And
so it like really just jams it out of there, and then it seems to grab more of the junk that's left over. So Scott said he's seen that before, but not recently, and wants to know if your firmware is current.
It's not the most current one, but it's the one from the summer.
Oh, weather. I just gotten a notification, and I pull up my phone. There's like 30 notifications. So I was just wondering,
We had the Amber Alert warning sound go off on our phones yesterday. So, do you guys have an Amber Alert system? I don't know if it's a different name there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because I know in some places they have different names for it, in some places they just don't have it at all. So the tone goes off on our phones. And turns out it wasn't an Amber Alert. It was notifying us that Quebec is going into a provincial curfew because the lockdowns, I think, have not been as widely respected as they were hoping. So, and I think now they're looking at potentially our area having one as well, because we're just where we live, we're literally just across the bridge from Quebec. So when they did the provincial lockdown in Quebec, people from Quebec just started coming over here to do shopping and stuff like that. And then our case, not that I'm blaming it specifically on them, but then we had a spike in cases. So now we're in,
right.
Like we were down under, like, go ahead.
But here in California has had, like, they've been on these tremendous lockdowns forever.
Yep.
And yet they have some of the highest rates still in California. So I mean, it's going to take more than lockdowns to fix this.
So here's the thing. Our first run through, we our first run through, we had I forget how long the first lockdown was, but we dropped down to like we were well over hundreds of cases a day. Then we dropped down well below hundreds of cases a day. And then they eased the restrictions and when they did a 3-phase reinduction or whatever, right? And now we're back. Now we're up to thousands of cases a day. You look.
StreamYard's lagging, but Poppy Ron said, "Use common sense." But there it is.
I see. I was waiting for it to pop up because I saw you laughing at something. I was like, it's got to be a message, unless you're just laughing at me.
The problem is common sense isn't so common.
I think the worst part is that they put these rules in, which end up feeling like punishment for people that are trying their best to be careful. And I think the bigger issue often ends up coming from being the people that just don't care and don't do anything. But
yeah.
Uncle
Ron said, I was working from home, hardly out at all, and still managed to get it. But now keeping myself in the house until I'm sure I won't be part of the problem.
We should probably move off of this topic because I know it's a heated thing.
Yeah. Gets my blood in a boil.
I certainly have enough people that
it gives me more excuse to stay home. So I did venture out Friday night. Zach wanted to have a pizza and movie night, which we didn't end up watching a movie. We played Lego Undercover instead. But I went and got pizza. We have a pizza. It's a chain, but it's called Flippers. And I thoroughly enjoy their pizza. So I ordered a large cheese and a large deluxe. And when I got home, I had a large deluxe and a large pepperoni and sausage.
Oh.
And I said, somewhere out there's at least one other family that's upset right now.
We had a situation here when stuff was just getting started with the lockdowns and whatnot. And Kay asked me if I would stop at a pizza place that's about a half an hour away from our house, but it was on the way back from work. So I went in, I picked up our order, brought it home, and lo and behold, it's not in fact our order. So we called them back and we're like, you gave us the wrong pizza, you gave us the wrong order, we just want a refund on the order. Oh, we can't do that. Come back and get the actual. I'm like, it's an hour-long trip for me to drive back to you and get back. So Kay argues, and they're like, okay, we're willing to give you a $10 credit towards your next purchase. And she's like, it was a $30 order though. Like, well, $10, or you can come back in and get the replacement pizza now. They wouldn't even give us credit for like the full cost of the bill to come back like as a credit on our account.
Right.
And so Kay's arguing with them, and they're like, well, that's just not our policy. And she's like, you didn't give us the product we paid for. You can't tell us, oh, well, you can have $10 back. And there was toppings on the pizza that Kay couldn't eat. So she's like, it's not even like I can eat this pizza and be like, that's good or whatever. And there it goes. It was like the worst customer experience ever. And like Kay's talking to this girl that's trying to get things straight out. And she's like, I know this isn't on you, so I'm not going to fight with you too much or whatever. Like, I know it's not, you don't make the policies and it's not fair to yell at you, but you're telling me you're willing to lose a customer that's been coming to you guys for literally, because like it's a chain that started in our hometown. Like, okay. We've been shopping with you guys for 37 years, and you're willing to lose us as a customer over a $30 order. So,
did you pay for that on a credit card?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be calling the card and having it reversed.
We bought a product. They didn't give us the proper product, and they refused to do.
Yeah, I mean,
well, because originally they're like, we'll find somebody to deliver it to you. Okay, cool. If you're willing to send somebody out this far, and then they're like, yeah, we looked it up. It's too far for anybody to go to deliver it to you. So we'll give you a $10 credit towards your next purchase.
Yeah, well, it's too far for you to drive back to get it.
Yeah, imagine me having to do that. Well, I guess it's the same thing for them because they have to go there and back. I was gonna say I have to do it twice, but
yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
The worst part is it's Kay's favorite pizza, so we've been back.
Well, of course, you just don't tell them, yeah. Do it under an alias name.
Well, so she argued back and forth. I think they ended up going up to like $15 or $20 for the credit, and like it was over the course of days, right? Like these conversations were over the course of days. It wasn't even like back. So Kay's like, okay, just put the $20 credit on our account, and fine. So then she went back in, and like afterward, she's like, okay, we have a credit on our account, and the person behind the counter had no idea what we were talking about. So we haven't even been able to use this supposed credit that we got.
Yeah, they probably don't even have a system like that in place.
Yeah, but and they didn't want us to call them on it, so that's why they fought so hard. Like, okay, we'll give you $20. Yep, I'm entering it into the computer right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you, but I had an issue with our local McDonald's, which I've had a handful of issues with our local McDonald's, but so I don't want to give away all my secrets, but I figured out this whole curbside takeaway with McDonald's is awesome. Like, I can place the order on my phone, and then you get there and you pull into the spot and you tell them you're there, you tell them what spot you're in, and I get it. I get the food before the people in the drive-thru get theirs.
Oh, we love the mobile order stuff.
It just works really, really well. So the other day, I never realized how many times I say that. So the wife and I were at the grocery store. I'm trying to think of when this was. This might have been like New Year's Eve day.
The other New Year's Eve day?
Yeah, the other New Year's Eve day. But so we pulled into the spot, and I placed the order while we were in the parking lot at the grocery store and drive down there. I go in, I'm in spot 2, hit it, and it comes back with an error. And it's like, oops, sorry, we've run into an issue. Please go inside to the counter and show them this code.
Yep.
This is your order number. Show them this code. So I go, now I'm already kind of a little tweaked because I have to go in, like I don't want to go in.
The whole purpose of the system is to prevent people from having to go in.
Right. And I'm past the pay point. So I go into the restaurant and there's nobody in there, and I go to the counter, and the girl working the counter she's like, oh, hey, what's going on? I said, oh, I got sad face. And I show her the message on the phone. She's looking at it and she goes, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, well, okay. So I tried to place the order and I put all my information in. And when I clicked it, this is what came up. This is my order number, and she's like, oh, and so she stares at it for a minute and she goes, oh, that's not our problem here. That's the internet. And so I kind of stopped for a minute and I said, all right, I've been in IT for a long time. It's not the internet. The internet is not the problem. So she asks another employee who comes over and looks at it, and they're like, I'm not sure. And then they go back to doing what they're doing. And the manager finally comes and finally, I mean, it only had been a couple minutes by this point, but the manager finally comes up and looks at it and says, oh, you need to call corporate. And I went, I'm not calling anyone. I said, this is a McDonald's app. And you are McDonald's. The McDonald's where I'm trying to buy food to put in my pie hole. I'm not calling anyone. And so the cashier girl goes, well, I can just re-ring it up. And I said, but I've already paid for it in the app. I just want my food. And the manager is like, well, it's not a problem with us. It's a problem with the processing on the other side. You have to call customer service. And I said, you are my customer service. If there's any phone calling going on, it's going to be you phone calling. I just want my food. And it was started, and I put my phone down. I set my phone down on the counter, and I put my hands down like this, and I went, I want the food I paid for. And so she goes, well, I'll ring it up and promo it out. But I said, that is fine, as long as I am leaving with the food that I ordered and paid for.
I mean, I've told you the Domino's story, right?
Domino's?
Yeah,
I think so.
With Domino's, I'm going to switch back to my other camera a second. With Domino's, when you order, you work up points, and those points can be applied to a free pizza.
Okay.
So I think every $10 gets you a point, and every 10 points gets you a free 2-topping medium pizza.
That sounds like PJ's, yeah.
Yeah. So the one night, Kay's like, I've got a free pizza. Why don't we just, we'll put the order in, we'll go pick it up because it's a 1.5-minute drive from our house. Free dinner for tonight. I said, okay, cool. So she puts in the order and we go to pick it up, and she goes in and the girl's like, okay, it's going to be like $23. Kay goes,
that's expensive free pizza.
Kay goes, oh, but we have a free pizza. And she goes, no, you have to punch you have to punch that in before you order it. And she goes, this is our free pizza. And she's like, no, it's $23. You got to pay. So Kay's back and forth. And, oh, you know what? I had the free pizza, because the next part is she comes back out. She goes, can you give me your phone, please? And I said, sure, what's up? She says we owe her $23 for the pizza. And I'm, well, here's the receipt that shows $0. She goes, yeah, she needs to see it. So Kay goes back in, and she's in there for like 15 minutes. And the girl calls somebody else over. They're looking at stuff, looking at her phone, whatever. And so then finally Kay comes out, and she goes, they had so my name's James, obviously. She's like, they had 2 orders with first name James on them today. They had James Cameron and whoever this other James is. The other James ordered like a small pizza and like a 10 thing of wings or whatever. And we ordered our free pizza. And he came in and they gave him his order, but they said, oh, we have a free order for James. So they like thought he was the free one. So they just let him leave with the pizza for free. And then they wanted us to pay and then send an email. They wanted us to pay for it. And then, but like the $23 was for that guy's order. She wanted us to pay it and then basically email the manager to get it comped back. I'm like, like in what way, shape, or form? Because like our pizza was like a $10 or $12 pizza, right? And that's it.
Right.
Like, in what world are we paying for somebody else's order and then straightening it out with the manager after the fact? Like, this is.
Was there not a manager there?
No, this is like 20 minutes before they close or whatever. So like they probably have somebody that does the cash or whatever, but it wasn't like.
Oh, oof.
Or maybe they wanted us to talk to the owner. The manager couldn't do it. That was on duty couldn't do it. I'm just like. So she's talking about. I'm like,
you can't do it. You just make a pizza and hand it to me. You go, here's the pizza. Sorry, we screwed up. Have a great day.
But they had our pizza. They had we left with our pizza. They made us the right pizza. They gave him the right order, but they went, oh, he's the free James. Let him have the pizza for free. They didn't charge him for it. And this guy didn't say anything on the way out.
So they gave him the pizza and the wings for free.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah.
This is over a year ago. I'm beginning to wonder if I script the details. Like maybe the pizza was free, but she tacked on a couple of dips. I think that's what it was. The pizza was free. She tacked on like 2 dips. So it was like $3 or whatever. So that James came in. They went, oh, and the order's under James in the computer. And like, oh, it's $3. So he just paid the $3 and left with his pizza and wings. So then she goes in and says, oh, what's the order under James? And the only open James orders from this other guy for the pizza and wings.
Oh.
Sorry, I screwed up some of the details, but I think that's basically how it balanced out. So
Poppy Ron said, sorry, hate to do this. They want 15 an hour. Well, like, and the biggest problem is not really down to the employees. I mean, they're doing what they can do. It's management.
Yeah.
Like there's never enough management. And even when you have to deal with the managers, it's like they don't know what to do. They don't know what's going on. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that try every way they can to scam something. So they do have to be careful. But at the point that I can show you my receipt, give me my stuff, So Scott said it's amazing how many major companies will fight over little things that don't impact their bottom line, but will risk losing customers. Yeah, because a pizza, the cost on a pizza is like 20 cents, like product wise, like there's not big money into it. So,
and the other thing is
Dan said that doesn't sound very Canadian.
It was not. The other thing that's happened too is that like Kayla often I'll be out doing something or whatever, and she'll call me and she'll be like, hey, what do I do for lunch? Or she'll flat out be like, I placed an order at, and this is Domino's. I placed an order at Domino's. Do you want to just grab it on the way back? Cool. So then I'm going in knowing that she put in an order, but I don't know what the order was for.
Right.
So the one day that happened, she said, can you stop at Domino's and pick up this order that I put in? So I go in, she hands me the pizza and she hands me 2 garlic sauces for dipping the crust. I didn't realize they were garlic sauces. I come out, I put them down on the seat and I look, I'm like, oh, those are garlic. Kayleen can't eat garlic. She gets a sick stomach.
Okay.
So I go back in with the garlic sauces and I say, hey, you gave me garlic sauces, but she ordered cheddar with it because that's what she ordered, the jalapeno cheddar or whatever. She goes, no, she ordered garlic. I said, well, I'm pretty sure she ordered the jalapeno cheddar, but if she ordered garlic, can I swap them? She like rolls her eyes and she's like, yeah, I can swap them once, but like tell her maybe to be more careful next time because like they've already left the store. So like,
right, they can't resell them; they have to throw them away.
Well, but the thing is, they're sealed. Like,
but still, you might have taken them out and injected them with a needle.
I guess. So she's kind of lecturing me on the, like, you have to be more careful with the app. You got to make sure you order the right stuff. I'm like, okay, sorry. And I'm leaving feeling stupid, right? So I go out with the 2 jalapeno cheddar things, put them on the box, and then the receipt is printed on the side of the box. And guess what? Kayleen ordered jalapeno cheddar, and this girl swore to me that I was wrong and we were the problem. And then told me to be more careful about our orders. I almost went back in and said something.
See, I would have gone back in with it and said, excuse me, can you read the side of that box for me? Oh, it is a rough world that we live in. And, like, in fairness,
to be fair,
to be fair, like, there are many times, like the Chili's. Now, I haven't been to Chili's it's been over a year since we've gone and eaten at Chili's because of all this. We've gotten takeout from there and stuff, but I love our local Chili's. I love the employees at our local Chili's. I can't wait to be able to go back and eat there without fear of dying later. But things happen. Wrong food comes, or stuff gets forgotten, or I might get the wrong side. And I don't typically freak out on stuff like that. It's just like, hey, this is wrong. And they're like, oh, so sorry. And then they take care of it.
Yep.
And everything is fine. But there is something massively wrong with our local McDonald's. and there has been more than one occasion. There was one night that I drove home, like I got food and drove home, which is about 15 minutes. And I want to say it was my sandwich, like my sandwich was missing. And so I called the store and they're like, well, you can come back in, we'll give it to you. And I'm like, I'm 15 minutes away, and I don't even remember how the whole thing went down, but I ended up driving back, and like I walked in, and it was like they knew immediately who I was, because the manager met me at the counter and was like super apologetic. I'm so sorry, we're training new people, and I just said, it's not the first time that dumb crap is like, we do not ever leave our McDonald's drive-through without double checking our order. That's because it is wrong every time.
The one in my family, like, that was closest to my family's like house, we got to the point where you'd have to check every time, because we'd get home and there'd always be two or three items missing. Yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah. Jeff White said, whatever happened to the customer's always right. Well, Jeff, what happened to that is a lot of customers are liars. Yes. And truly, that's where the problem happened, was when the customer truly was always right, and businesses would bend over backwards to do the right thing. Some people abuse that. Yeah, people would scam. I can't even begin to tell you all the wonderful stories from when I worked customer service at Best Buy, and people trying to return an iPad with a big scratch across the screen, and they're like, it came that way. It came with a big scratch on it. No human hand had ever touched that before you did, and it came with a big scratch on it. Like, Kayleen worked in customer service, specifically, so customer service, mostly handling returns, and she had at least one person, and probably more, but like the story sticks out in my head, come in with a laptop that had a shattered screen and claim it just did it to itself. Oh, yeah. The self-shattering screen. Yeah. And so Kay's like, well, like, there has to be, you can see where the pressure is. And she's like, no, the screen just stopped working. She's like, the screen is damaged. Somebody's cracked it. And I think with that one, it ended up being, she's like, Kay starts working there. It's like, do you have a cat? Yeah. Where do you leave your laptop when you're using? On the floor? Is there any way your cat could have jumped off something onto the laptop? Well, that wouldn't have hurt it. That would have shattered the screen. It's not thick plastic. There's no strong, Yeah. It's not a 90s laptop. There's a restaurant around here. Kay and I live in a small town. I tell everybody we live in Ottawa because we're within a half an hour of Ottawa, and it's just easier. Plus, I don't want anybody knowing exactly where we live. Right. So we went out for dinner the one night. He lives in Letterkenny. I live in Letterkenny. And these are my problems. So
he's one of the 5,000 people that live in Letterkenny.
So we go to this restaurant, and it's one of these restaurants where like they have a couple specialty items, but they have like everything, right? So like, oh, you want pizza, you want pasta, you want a smoked meat sandwich, you want, they've got a huge selection of stuff. Their menu is like 200 items long. So I order a small pepperoni pizza, and everything comes back to the sausage, but I ordered a jalapeno cheese dip to go with it. Because this place had thick crust, and the crust wasn't super flavorful, but I also didn't want it. So anyways, the waitress that serves us has only been working there for 2 weeks. So she comes back with our food. She sets it down, and I'm eating my food, and I open the dip, and it's quite dark, but I'm like in there, it's quite dark. And I look at the dip, and I'm like, it looks a little bit like darker than it normally does in case. Like, I think it looks fine. I think it's just the lighting in here. So I'm eating it, and it doesn't taste like quite right. So I get a few bites into it, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, it's probably just the way the crust tastes or whatever. And then I'm like, I look at it and like tilt the thing to the side, and like this liquid comes running out from the side. So it's like separated. So I drip the liquid out into the napkin so I can then flip it over and look at it. And it's been expired for 3 years. So I call her over, and she's like, is everything okay? I'm like, this dip has been expired for 3 years. She's like, what? I'm like, it's been expired for 3 years. So it turns out she didn't know where the dips were. So she just went and pulled the one out of the display at the top.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the guy, the manager comes over and goes, oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to comp your dessert for tonight. Sorry about that. We'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
Sorry.
So we eat our dessert and leave. And I said to Kay, I'm like, it was really stupid for them to only offer to comp us our dessert. If I get sick, I'm going to sue them. Like,
yeah, but then you'll lose because you ate the free dessert.
They comped our $10 dessert. It's like at the bare minimum, I'd be going, you know what, your meal's on us today because we might have just killed you.
Yeah, they comp the desserts because dessert is a huge profit level.
It was like a piece of an $8 cake that they divided into 12.
Right. Yeah, you feel like you got a great deal because they charge you $10, but it was like 6 cents worth of dessert.
Yep.
Uncle Ron said a friend of mine that had that with Taco Bell. She drove up one day and told the kid, "Put whatever you want in the bag and tell me what I owe you, because that's what you're going to do anyway." Oh, I don't know. It's getting rough, man. It's getting hard to eat out.
We're trying to support local. Whenever we see, so like one of the places here is doing a donaire kit, so curbside pickup. It's all the stuff you need to make donaires for 4 people, and so we go and order that whenever it pops up. And
it's to make what?
A donaire. It's kind of like a euro or gyro, whatever you want to call them.
Well, I call them euros, but okay, yeah. I'd never heard that term before.
A donaire.
A donaire.
It's a pita with meat and garlic sauces and a bunch of other stuff in it.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. It's also similar to shawarma.
Shawarma. Okay. We have Moe's Southwest Grill.
We had one of those in Ottawa, and it got closed down.
Okay, so I know that they're around the country. I just didn't know if they had made it out of the country. But
the only one I've ever seen.
They have a deal now. It's like $30, but it's a do-it-yourself nacho kit, and it comes in this big box, and you get like 2 cups of queso and 2 cups of meat, and like you get a ton of stuff. It's fantastic.
That's kind of
how you said donut.
That's kind of how the donaire kit. Well, the first time it was in a pizza box, and they had like the meat in one segment, then like the veggies in one segment, then containers with the stuff. This time they have like a tin container with all the hot stuff, another container with the cold stuff, and then like a couple things for the sauces. So
nice. Yeah, I kind of like those, like do-it-yourself kits.
Yep.
Because you're getting the taste of the way they make stuff. But you get to build it however you want to build it. So,
yep.
Carl Schumann says, I have not eaten in a restaurant in 9 weeks. I have not eaten in a restaurant. I think I've only eaten in a restaurant maybe 4 times since last February.
Kay and I have not eaten in a restaurant since last March. Period. They opened some of them up for like internal eating again, but it was like it's not worth the. I'm not gonna say it's not worth the risk. We don't gain much from doing it, right? So like I know some people need the social aspect and stuff, and that's fine. But for us, it's like we don't feel like we're getting anything additional out of it.
Yeah, well, a couple of times we ate at a restaurant when we were traveling. When I went up and bought that Daisy, the truck.
Yeah, the one that you're gonna try and drive back, right?
Yeah. But there was a pizza place. They had outside seating, so we ate there, and then it was another pizza restaurant actually on the way back, but we were like the only people inside. Oh no, in fact, I take that back. I went in and got the food. We ate it in the truck. We ate it sitting in the truck, so that one doesn't count.
Like and the truck you're driving or the truck on the flatbed?
No, the one I was driving.
Okay.
And then we had gone a few weeks ago. We had gone to the next major town over to pick some stuff up at a Home Depot that my Home Depot didn't have. And we have a restaurant called Red Robin, which makes like really great hamburgers.
Red Robin, yum.
That's the one. And so we had gone in to eat there because that's definitely not something you could take with you to eat.
Yeah.
So, and we don't get up that way very often.
So back when Vine was a thing, the precursor to TikTok, Kayleen loved watching them, right? They're all like 5-10 seconds.
It's funny that you have to explain what Vine is because there may actually be people that don't know what that is.
Yeah. One of the vines that she loved, there's a guy and he's in a house and he's got a knife. You can see him looking around, a serial killer. And he goes, Red Robin. And the guy he's hunting for comes out of the closet and goes, yum. And they're like, no, wait. So I actually saw that Vine last night because we had a friend over that was not familiar with Vines. So we have one person that our current bubble is extended to because she lives alone. So you're allowed to have people that have no social interaction, basically. It's like, I think it's called the loser law. I'm just kidding.
The loser clause.
Not to be confused with Santa Claus.
That's right. Yeah, no, I don't have TikTok because in my house we don't have TikTok.
That's fair.
It is completely blocked in this household because there is way too much garbage on there, and I have a 14-year-old.
That's completely fair too. Kay watches the TikToks. I call them Tic Tacs to bother her, and like it does. It gets on her nerves.
Did you see the one? I think it was Joel that shared it in our community of the sea shanty.
Oh, the one where he sings and then you sing along with him or whatever?
Yeah, there was a guy that did the original one. Yeah. And then a guy with a very bassy voice, like, put himself in with it. And then 2 more people did it as well. And then, like, I found others. Like, there's a girl who could play the violin, like, did...
Kick in with it?
Well, she did, like, 3 harmony violin.
That's awesome.
Into it. And it's just amazing. But one of the guys, the baritone, he identified himself as like the ginger baritone or something, but he had posted a link to his YouTube, to one of his YouTube videos where they did the song Hallelujah. It's Novi, N-O-V-I. If you search Hallelujah Novi, in fact, Hallelujah Novi, N-O-V-I, a cappella, you'll find their video. But holy cow, talk about give you goosebumps. Such talent. I can't carry a note in a bucket. So
I tried to do a duet. That's what they call them when you part yourself with their video. I tried to do a duet with the guy that did the sea shanty. It was specifically he's singing about like the first mate likes whiskey, the captain likes whiskey, the first mate likes rum. So I spent all this time recording it, playing it back, and Kay goes, how'd it turn out? I'm like, I just remembered that I can't sing, and I deleted it, and she got really mad that I deleted it before she could see it. She's like, I like your voice. I'm like, that's fine. Doesn't mean the internet's going to.
Yeah, that is one place that I was not gifted. Yeah. I am not my musical talent stops at being able to push play on Spotify.
And my musical talent is all in my face. Oh, that's what I should start doing. I should start doing duets and doing that.
Yeah, it's no, that the whole thing of I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I think that was originated for me. It's Uncle Ron said I can make statues' ears bleed. Yeah, it's no, but that acapella group, they're based out of London, but super talented. And then that sea shanty was amazing with with the 4 people added into it as well. And the originator of that had made a post on his Twitter asking if people would be interested. If he did like 4 or 5 songs, if people would be interested in buying them off of, I think, SoundCloud or something. And people are like, well, if you team up with those other 4, absolutely. And he's like, I don't know if I could do that. We're all in different countries. And it's like, you just did it without even knowing you did it. Like.
It's like, yeah, if you team up with those other 4 guys, and also if you're not in it, you're the weakest link.
No, all of them were very, very talented. So, and it's like that clip is only like 59 seconds long, which I don't know if is that a TikTok thing? Is there
yeah, I think TikTok has it so you can have 15-second, 30-second, and 1-minute clips.
Yeah, so that must have been the cutoff, and it's like, man, you guys need to release a full length of that. It's like it's such a catchy tune. So, but I like when it comes to music, I like really weird, obscure stuff anyway.
So, you've probably heard of the group Disturbed.
Uh-huh.
And they did a song called "Down with the Sickness."
That one I don't know.
You've probably heard it. It's got this at the beginning of it. I can't do but anyways, it's this lounge singer guy did a cover of it for the movie Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
And it's like, it's everyone else like, get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Well, and that's funny because Disturbed did the cover of Sound of Silence, and it's like Sound of Silence is kind of a lounge singery type song, and then they did it in their style.
I also like how Johnny Cash did a cover of a 9 Inch Nails song.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, 9 Inch Nails covered Johnny Cash. It's like, no, it's the other way around.
Yeah, Johnny Cash was very, very talented.
Yep.
Big fan of the Ring of Fire. Not actually getting the Ring of Fire, just, the song.
Ring of Fire by Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah. Mainly when you eat the Diablo sauce.
I don't find the Diablo sauce very hot.
I don't like the Diablo sauce. I like the fire sauce better. I don't know if one is hotter than the other one, honestly. I don't find either one of them to be very hot, but I don't like the flavor of the Diablo sauce over the fire. But don't let that fire sauce sit around for too long because it gets kind of gross after a while. Mainly if you take it out of the display case. So I have been digging around on Fiverr to try to find somebody to replace Ryan.
Gone but not forgotten.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find somebody. So, Ryan to me was like up here, and the people that I'm listening to are like down here, and it's like, man, I just don't know if I will ever find somebody to be like, yep, that's the one. I did find there was one demo on there that I'm like, yeah, this is the sound I'm looking for. And they were like $250. I'm like, no, that's not the sound that I'm looking for. I'm not going to pay $250 for a 20-second jingle. But no, it's really sad that he doesn't do it anymore. But I don't know. I'll keep hunting until I find somebody to write us a jingle. Brian Mulberry said Disturbed is a cover band. That I did not know.
And he said my singing was cringy.
I wasn't sure if it was for that or for the Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
Brian Mulberry said we need to use stepper motor wine to make music. You can actually. There's a site. If you Google it, there's a site out there that will write you G code.
Yep.
To play music on your 3D printer.
I think you need to feed it a MIDI file.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it'll generate the. I played with it for a little while, and then I realized that was stupid to put that much strain on my 3D printer.
The other thing you can do now too, depending on if the speaker on your 3D printer is set up for like which type of tone it's set up for, there's a thing that'll actually write G code that will make the speaker play end music.
Yeah, well, the Duet does that automatically. Like not automatically, but it's built into the Duet board to where you can send an end tune.
Whip.
Yeah, I forget what I had mine playing for a while, but I never got to hear it anyway.
Never had it finish a print.
Yeah, I came up today. It was relatively early. It was probably like noon o'clock, and the whole bench was covered in stuff from doing Xanders computer swap and stuff. And I thought, well, I should clean up the bench, and then it just kind of started to escalate from there. And then I found the stack of parts for my rep box, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably I don't know, put that thing together.
I feel bad because my rep box is assembled. Pooch and I did it together at IRF. Would it have been IRF or Murph? It must have been Murph. The last Murph that actually happened.
I don't know if he'd had time to do it at IRF.
It was pre IRF or Murph. It was the day beforehand we got there, but I think it was Murph because we were at IC3D. Wait,
yeah, that was
IC3D? Yeah, okay. So he and I assembled it together, and I hung it on my wall, and it has filament in it, but it's not hung in my wall at a point where I can run the filament into a 3D printer because I then did all my shelving and stuff, right? So all my filament shelves are now directly above my printers, and there's no spot for me to put the rep box. And I paid for the custom side panels and everything.
Yeah, I've got Fun King. I have Fun King good side panels.
Look at that. Ooh.
What a glorious logo.
Yep.
So I've decided that this wall, I'm going to get rid of the shelves. The shelves are going to go away. And I'm going to design a hex tile. Hopefully that I can put some RGB lighting in.
Yep.
And then I'm going to give people the option to print, like if they want to do their logo or whatever, that they can print an inset to cover this wall. I think that'll be kind of cool. There's only one problem though. You can't get stepper motors to whine if you use Ender 3v2 because it's got 32-bit board, and I can't use my Robo because I already disassembled it and sold it for.
Yeah, those silent steppers have definitely killed music for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I mean the thing is again, why would you want to put that strain? Why would you want to put that through on your? I have that, and I think I've shown it before. But I have a scanner, a paper scanner.
Yep. The HP one.
Yeah, that plays for Elise, and it was my mom's when I found out that it did, and I was so excited, and I was at her house. I'm like, you got to check out what your scanner does, and she's like, yeah, well, don't do that, and I'm like, why? And she's like, because it's just gonna wear my scanner out.
But it outlasted its usefulness, anyways.
Well, I told her, I said, you don't ever get rid of that. I said, at the point that you no longer want that, it's mine. So.
Okay, so now get the scanner out and play it for us before the end of the stream.
Rover wants to know how big the hex spots will be. I don't know, probably. I don't want to make them too big because I don't want people with small printers to not be able to print it. And also I don't want it to take people forever to have to, So I don't know, maybe between 4 and 6 inches, I think would be.
Maybe since this is a project that we've talked about that we're going to both do, maybe we can work on it together.
That'd be good. Oh, this thing was way down in the archives.
Oh, you disturbed your cat. Cat's in charge now.
Well, it's funny because before the stream, she had come over and got up in the chair that was over here. So I said, "Oh, that's fine." I went and got the other chair and brought it over. And then I'm doing something. I turn around. She's in the chair that I was sitting in. And I'm like, "Look, you got to pick a chair, cat." Now I'll plug this in and it shorts out and shuts the whole entire stream down.
Well, I mean, it's close enough to the end anyways, so.
Okay, so this is a Hewlett-Packard Scanjet 5P. It is a SCSI interface, SCSI.
That's the old massive one.
Huh?
It's the old massive version too.
Oh yeah. The big one. Oh no, this is the micro.
Oh, is it okay? So is it the one that looks like a SCSI one, or is it the one that kind of looks like a parallel port one?
It looks like a really tiny parallel port one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's what I was expecting. It's got the pinchy ends on the sides, right?
Yeah, it clips.
Yep.
Okay, so, and then the other key to all of this is you have to set the SCSI ID to 0, and then there's a power switch somewhere here, and then you have to hold the scan button on the front. Let me open this. Let's get all kinds of fancy now.
As I say, can you get your camera on it? I couldn't remember if it worked or not.
All right, and then you turn it on. Oh, Ode to Joy. I'm sorry, not for Elise. Ode to Joy.
How did you find out it did that?
Okay. Oh, I was just gonna I was thinking about it while it was playing, and I was just gonna say that I'm really sad that my friend Matt Cox isn't in here today because it was Matt that told me about it. Matt went to work for, I don't know if he was working for HP or if he was just an HP authorized center, but he worked somewhere that did HP stuff, and he was the one that told me about it. Because I had a different HP scanner at the time, and he's like, "Hey, is your scanner the 5P?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, the 5P." Then I found out my mom had one. But there used to be a jukebox software that was internally written by HP that you could play different songs on the scanner, but they never released it publicly because it would put too much wear and tear on scanners for no reason.
And now you don't have a SCSI interface to connect that to a computer anyways.
I do.
Do you?
Oh yeah. I have a SCSI card. I have a PCI SCSI card that I could connect it to. I also have a what is the one for the laptop that's like the size of a credit card, but like
PCMCIA?
PCMCIA. Yeah, I have a PCMCIA SCSI adapter.
I did a quick Google search to see if anybody ever leaked it, but I don't see it.
No, I could never find it. I mean, we're talking way back in the 90s. Way on back.
What's the model number of the scanner?
5P. It is the Scanjet 5P. There's probably like an actual model. It is a HP C510A. Or no, 5110A. HP, and then C is in Charlie, 5110A. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to,
I couldn't accomplish what you couldn't accomplish in 3 seconds in a Google search. Sorry. Well, I just thought maybe we'd get lucky and somebody had leaked it like since the last time you looked, and it would be like, oh, this
yeah, because
software.
I haven't looked for it in probably 10 plus years. But the fun part is like, I mean, you've seen how quickly I got that. I keep it in a pile of stuff under my desk
Just for that.
Because I mean, that to me is amazing that somebody took the time to put that in, so.
Well, we're just about 6:03.
Oh, that puts us about right because we started a little late and we end a little late. Oh, and for the record, I didn't say it, but it was James's fault that we were late again.
Yeah, I was having audio problems for some reason.
we were actually in the green room early, but I couldn't hear anything he was saying. And
Monday through Friday, I use this exact same headset for work. Then come Sunday, it's always like, Adam Sandler, you, James.
Well, and again. And again, I don't use this computer for anything all week long, and then it's always on Sunday.
It needs an update.
So, but Uncle Ron said I should add that to my Christmas show. No, but I'll tell you, I'm not real big on writing the sequences for the Christmas show to slower music, but I'm totally thinking about trying to figure out how to use that version of Hallelujah.
I mean, you got a year to figure it out.
Well, I mean, it's just like upbeat songs. You got the, like I can build off of that. The slower stuff is like you just got to make the lights fade on and off, and it's not as exciting. And but
what you need is one of those laser shows where you can like project like somebody playing the piano onto a wall or something like that.
I can do that with pixels in the form of a matrix. There was one person in the lighting group that was using fire cannons, like actual flame, and I thought, I want a couple of those.
There's no liability in that, right?
I guess it depends on if people come onto your property, and at that point, they're trespassing. I'm going to throw a link. To that YouTube video of their version of Hallelujah. Don't go on now. Wait, we're done. We're all there. Just chill. I don't want you guys to be a bunch of sobbing babies as I'm doing my final words of the day. I do also want to say that Xander will be streaming today. Let's try that again. I want to say that Xander will be streaming today. Yes? No? Okay, at 6:30. Okay, so and that's
I
also.
gotta wash my hair, so I won't be there.
You gotta wash your hair. Yeah, I gotta watch all mine too. What will we be playing today? Playing on some Rec Room, and there is a link to his channel. So go and give him a good hard time, like I do in person. Zach and I will be playing Lego City Undercover at the same time, but not online. But you might still hear that in the background because I like to turn it up good and loud and annoy Xander.
I too like to annoy Xander. Ever since he gave up on 3D printing.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever actually started 3D printing. He's just not cut for the maker world. I don't know. You tell him here, break down this cardboard box, and he has a hard time figuring out what you mean.
Yeah.
He's just not. That's not how his brain works. So I have a feeling Zach, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit different. I think he's got more of the maker mentality. I mean, he already wants to always take his toys apart and stuff. So
I mean, he's revision too. Of course, he's going to be better.
I definitely won't say better, just different. They both have their flaws. Lots and lots of them.
Well, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's kind of what I was working on. So tune in, watch Xander at 6:30. Peg Leg Paul. Sometimes he goes by Cheeto. I don't know. Sometimes he goes by Smelly 14-year-old. You can look him up otherwise. He has over 200 subs now, 208. So thank you to all who has subscribed and is holding them up there. No, you're not be getting YouTube money. So otherwise, do you have anything you want to plug, James?
No, I haven't gotten anything done lately.
Yeah, I haven't either. I do want to do. I have another video idea that I want to knock out here pretty soon, but we'll see how that goes. I'm thinking 1 a year is probably sufficient. You know, I don't want to set my standards too high, and then all of a sudden I start doing better than Chris Riley. You know, whew,
yeah, you don't want to destroy that guy. You know.
No, I like him too much for that. So
yeah,
but I don't think I did any shameless plugs today, like honest ones. So make sure that you shop at printedsolid.com. Buy Duet. Buy stuff from openbuilds.com because they make really cool and fun stuff. Get all of your Fun King 3D yellow PETG from IC3D because you can't get it anywhere else. Trying to think who else I can throw in there. I don't know. So I mean, there's lots of other sponsors, but I think that's all I'll throw in for today. Oh, and drink Coke Zero. But not if you live in Florida because it's getting hard to get. Stupid aluminum can shortage. So, but we want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in this week, as we do every week, because you are the reason we do this, and you guys are the ones that are important for us to be able to do this. So thank you guys for showing up. Thanks for hanging out with us. I know we didn't talk a lot about 3D printing today, a little bit in the beginning, but I think overall it was a fun conversation, a fun time. That 2 hours went by really quick, and that's generally my gauge on how much fun I had is by how fast. Like if I look at the clock and it's like, oh man, it's only been 45 minutes, then you guys aren't doing your job. And oh wait, no, maybe it's not me not doing my job. So
everybody sucks.
What's that?
In that case, everybody sucks.
Right. And of course, a big thank you to my brother from another mother, James, for being here with me, because these streams would suck if it was just me and not having anybody to verbally talk to. So thank you guys. And I don't know. There probably won't be much for between here and next week because I've really been trying to stay off of the Twitters and the Facebooks and all of that. But I might pop in occasionally. If you say something nice, then you might get a like from me. But otherwise, that's all you're gonna get from me. And as always, until next time,
print on.